Hello guys, so my name's Samuel Overton and I'm the Creative Director for TG, Australia and New Zealand. I'm also the Brand Ambassador for H2D. What we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be taking you through how to get the looks. So we're going to be working on two looks today. One, we're going to be using the new tool, the Crave It, so I'll explain a little bit more about that when we come to it. And also the next one we're going to be doing is some soft, beautiful, glamorous waves, and we're going to be using the X3 for that. Okay, what I'm going to be talking about also, guys, is how important it is to prep the hair and make sure you're using the right products to get the right texture. When you're working with movement in hair, it's really, really important that you put the right products in there. Okay, we all know that when you're working with straight hair and you're trying to put movement in it, it can drop out quite quickly. So it's about working the products in the hair and making the hair work for you. So today, guys, I'm going to be working with the Candy Fixation range by Bedhead. So what we're going to be working with to start with is the Totally Baked. Okay, so the Totally Baked is a volumizing foam. I'm going to start by working this in probably from roots, mid-lengths to ends, and I'm going to go through section by section. So I'm just going to come through to the back of the head, just putting it all back. It's really important to make sure you get a nice even distribution. When you're working this kind of look and it's not a salon kind of situation, it's about getting in there and creating that texture. So I would be coming through and just getting my hands dirty. You can see what I've done as well, guys, is I've made sure that the hair doesn't have any partings in it. Hair can be very, very fussy, but also once you've left the parting or you've let it fall into a parting, it can be quite strong, so it's really hard to get it out. So all I'm doing is just making sure I'm bringing it all back and making sure that it doesn't fall into any partings. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my hair dry and I'm just going to start to work it through the hair. Cool, so I've just rough dried that through with the product. You can just see the texture in there, but you can kind of see the amount of the volume that we've put through there as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to brush that through, and then I'm just going to use a TG Pro HT brush, and I'm just going to smooth it out just a little bit as well. Working the Totally Baked through there has just helped create mega volume through there and texture. I'm then going to go through with my TG Masterpiece hairspray. It's a medium to strong hold depending on how much you use, and it's got a really beautiful shine to it, so it's really easy to work with, and it also doesn't go too heavy and it doesn't leave any white residue in the hair when you start to brush it out and play around with it as well. So here is the Crave It. So you guys can see through here, this is the prototype tool. So what it does is it creates a slight almost crimp but almost wave texture, which is where we came up with the name Crave It. Working it with the Totally Baked and the Masterpiece gives it that gritty texture, and it just holds this really, really well. So what I'm going to do through here is I'm just going to subdivide this back area into two sections, and I just clamp it over the hair exactly the same as you would, say, a triple barrel. So these bottom sections, I want to keep it quite loose because that's what's going to be on the outside of the up style. When I start working further up, I'm going to take less thick sections, and then I'm going to have a little bit more of a defined shape in there. For the reason being, because I want that texture on the outside, but I don't want it to be too much as well, so I still want to work around that real natural, lived-in, organic kind of feel with the hair as well. So what I'm doing is I'm coming down, is I pull it down to the next one, and I just line it up previously with the indentation that I've created with the Crave It. So it's got a little heat-proof on the end here as well. You can also use the glove that comes with it. And all I do is I just go down section by section, probably leave it on from anywhere to 10 to 20 seconds. Again, what I'll be doing when I get through to the top is everything will be coming back, because I want to be really aware and make sure that I'm not putting a parting within the hair. And then I just go through to my next bit, through that divot, from the curve, and then that's where I place the top part of the barrel again. And I just keep going down and marrying them up till I get that even distribution of the shape throughout there. Okay, so I've just gone through and I've finished creating that texture with the Crave It. As you can see, the way I tried to visually explain it to you previously was about that corrugated roof kind of texture through there. And we've got that all the way through. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave my model just to sit for a couple of minutes, just for it all to evenly cool down. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to section it out again, and I'm just going to brush with a soft bristle brush from the roots through to the mid-lengths to the ends. I'm not going to brush it in all heaps of different directions. I'm just going to brush it down just to break up so it's not so hard, and just to break it up a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to subdivide the hair into two parts. I'm going to put the front in the face and leave the back over here. I'm then going to pin in my padding, and then I'm going to start to build the shape. Once I've found where I want to place the padding, just pinning it in, put the initial pins to hold it, then I just cross the pins over, just to add some extra strength in the hold. It's very important that you make sure that you get the first part of the padding secure, because it's what's going to hold the rest of the shape. Cool, once I've got my padding secure, this is when I'm going to start to work the shape. It's just about working quite loosely at first. Because I placed the correct products in the hair to prep it, to get that texture, I've also got that hold, so I'm always in control of what I'm doing with the hair now. So guys, you can see the shape that I've got here. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to go through, just pull up any pieces that I need. I'm just going to play around with this top bit right at the end. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to work with some hat elastic. I'm just going to place hat elastic around each of the individual paddings, and that's going to create an indentation in there. I'm then going to go through with a little bit of the Masterpiece hairspray in there, again for the hold and the shine, hairdryer on cold, and I'm just going to go through there and set in those divots so it looks like a bit more of a rippled effect to it. So I really want to work with these indentations, and that's what's going to give it the difference in the shape, and that's where we're going to get that different feel from it. So now I've gone through and I've got those indentations in there. I'm just going to finish it by visually working this top part. Then what I just want to do through the sides, just work my fingers in circular motions on these. What that's going to do is just going to ruffle the hair a little bit, so that's not going to be so perfect in place. And just add to that texture as well. Okay, so here's our finished look. You can see it's got that real strong editorial feel to it as well. We went through and just creating that texture through there. Then as I finished, I just went and rubbed my hands through it just to break it up a little bit more and give it a little bit more of an organic feel to it. Just to recap what we did, we went through section by section using the Totally Baked in the Candy Fixations range. We then blow dried the hair and smoothed it out to flatten out the cuticle to create that shine. We then went through with the Masterpiece hairspray, took each section, and then we worked it through with the Crave It to get that corrugated feel to it. Once we'd set that, we just gave it a liberal spray with the Masterpiece, brushed it out, and then we pinned in with the padding, and then we started to play around with it visually and create this shape. Then we pinned the padding to each other, covered it all with the hair. Then I just went through and I just wrapped the hat elastic round in just a random shape, just to kind of emphasize the divots within the hair. Hairsprayed that, and then went over each of those crevices or divots with cold on the hairdryer, and then just broke it up and give it a little bit more of a distorted feel. Thank you very much.